Yeah, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be playing some Subnatica couple of zero new survival world. This is it. See?
It is to me and Sam. I need to know what happened.
The meteor storm.
I can use it for cover from Altair's eyes.
We're gonna miss you, Robin.
I'll find my way back. Approaching 45, 46 feet. Surface temperatures.
Really happening. I went to my sister's house about it. Oh yeah? Theo and Alvin? Everyone.
Let's go.
I have an idea. The next morning, everyone gathered in the main hall for assembly. The principal was going over the boring rules, and then he started talking about friendship.
Yeah, I've highlighted interactive alone.
I think we need to say that stuff louder for the people in the back. Yeah, people like Theo. Actually, I was referring to you, Alvin, you backstabbing son of a... Don't you ever come at me like that!
Suddenly, Alvin flew on top of Theo, and they started fighting. The principal dropped his mic and stared. Clearly, he was confused. Then, what I saw baffled me even more.
I'm just
and took the microphone from the principal. Okay, boys, stop fighting. Everyone, the room went quiet. These guys are going madly in love with my little sister Aubrey. She's a total hottie, right? The crowd cheered. My turned completely red.
Let's go.
Alvin and Theo, stop fighting. The two of you have to plan the most romantic date ever. You'll both be having a different time. Whoever plans the best date gets to be with my sister. Well, if she agrees, that is. Alvin and Theo let each other go and stared. The crowd continued to cheer. So that's that. What's the point of you go first? Alvin, your head. Theo, your tail. She took a coin and flipped it. Alvin,
8.
you can have the date this Saturday. Theo, here's the sausage Saturday. Are we cool, everyone? The boys nodded and the crowd cheered again.
That did not go as planned.
Everyone calmed down.
I should find a way into the water and
Comment on
drop
what had
pod.
happened. I guess he didn't know what to say. I mean, I don't know what to say either. So let me skip the boring part and get straight to my date with Alvin. His father has a few private jets because, like I mentioned already, he's a billionaire. Can you believe that he took me to France? He got his parents to ask mine for permission first, and they thought it was a really good opportunity, so they let me go. Now, most ordinary
Let's
girls
go.
have their first dates at ice cream shops and pizza parlors, but mine was in Paris. The trip there was so romantic. We sat at a dimly lit table after we took off and had some non-alcoholic champagne because my parents told me I was still too young to drink. We played a few video games and then fell asleep. And we had a tour of Paris. Then he took me to
I want this bladder fish from there, bladder.
We had a romantic dinner. On the way back home, we sat close to each
Oh,
other
darn
and
it.
eventually fell asleep on his shoulder. When we were
Keep that
almost
cover,
about to
take
land,
that.
he woke me up and said,
So, did you enjoy your day?
New creature
Got that?
"Of course I
discovered.
did. I had a wonderful time." Then he leaned in for a kiss and I nearly exploded inside. My first kiss after my first date in Paris.
Yo, the game's
on a private
paused.
jet. How would Theo be able to top that? I wasn't even sure I wanted him to because I was already falling for Alvin. I'm gonna skip the boring
Do
part
that.
to the next week and get straight to my date with Theo.
Hey, I heard that Alvin took you to France?
Oxygen.
Thailand. I read one of your stories and I realized that you love learning about historical sites and that you're fascinated with other cultures.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Of course, Theo's parents also had their own private jet too, so getting there was no challenge. Because it was so far away, my parents allowed me to stay there for 2 nights on the condition that Theo and I slept in separate rooms. I couldn't believe they were being so lenient, but I guess it had something to do with him being filthy rich. Thailand was awesome. We spent one day at an amazing beach where we went rafting, kayaking, and snorkeling. I saw so many awesome sea creatures that I kept dreaming about them for months later. I learned a lot about Theo, and he seemed like a pretty nice guy. The next day, we went exploring some of the temples and other historical sites. We even went to an elephant sanctuary, which was probably the highlight of the trip. While we were there, I held hands with Theo, and I thought that I was beginning to like him a lot more than Alvin. When I eventually got home, I explained to my sister that it was really hard to make a decision. I was falling for both of them. She laughed, then left the room because she had to go to the bathroom. She left her phone on her bed, and I picked it up to take a selfie. I took about 10 of them, and as I was scrolling through them to decide which one I liked best, I ended up scrolling too far. Way too far. And what I saw made my heart sink. There was a picture of Cindy kissing Alvin. I checked the date, and it was just 3 days ago.
Found the drop
while
pod.
I was out with Theo. Just as I was about to knock on the bathroom door to throw the phone in her face to ask her what that was about, I saw a text come in from Theo.
Just got back from my date with your sister. She's not half as amazing as you, though. Would you still consider going out with me? I miss you so much, Faith, and I can't stop thinking about the last time we made out.
It turns out that even though I was hot, Theo and Alvin were just using me to get to my sister. Apparently, they'd had crushes on her for, like, ever. And they had a bet between the two of them to see who could be her boyfriend. Instead of confronting my sister, I sent the picture and a screenshot of the text to myself, and I posted it on all my social media pages. Now, everyone knew that Theo and Alvin were just jerks, and no girls wanted to date them anymore. My sister and I still aren't talking, and I don't know if things will ever be the same again. On the plus side, my writing.
Well,
I'm going to
Sam,
be
I
hot,
guess I might as well
rich,
gather some
and
tools and
famous
resources
someday.
before starting my search.
Why live with evil geniuses if you can't learn to be an evil genius yourself? Have you ever heard of that saying? Well, now you have. Listen carefully and watch closely as I show you how I outsmarted the whole family of evil geniuses. And who knows, perhaps if you watch attentively till the end, you might be able to grab a thing or two, and no one will be able to
Let's
take
go.
advantage of you ever again. Like and subscribe if you ever want to be successful. Now that's what I'm talking about. When my parents invited me to the city and enrolled me in the most prestigious university ever, I knew my life was going to take a turn. I
Let's
just
go.
never expected it to be this turn. Growing up, I was always extremely grateful. Who would have thought that Miss
Should be
Janet,
able
the
to
most
use this.
mischievous girl in the entire orphanage, would ever get adopted? No, scratch that. Who would have thought that Miss Janet would be adopted by such a loving and caring family? The most surprising thing wasn't even the fact that I got adopted. It's the fact that I've changed. Anyone who met me now would find it hard to believe me if I told them about my past. I was a totally...
No, my scanner.
The wildlife down here is very grabby.
Where's my scanner? Thank you, stupid sea monk.
person now, if I might say. A very good person indeed. My parents weren't exactly well-to-do, but they gave me everything I needed to survive while I worked hard to cover up for the rest. More than what I needed, but I wanted to make sure that our tiny village hut was always in tip-top shape when they came during the end of the year. So I worked hard to earn money and make everywhere comfortable for them. I grew up alone because my parents were always off doing hard labor to make sure that I was always alright. At least, that's what I thought. Until recently. You're leaving breadcrumbs everywhere, Anna, one of the maids, said. Huh? You're messing the kitchen up. I laughed. What was our maid saying exactly? I'd made good friends with most of the mansion staff. Apart from the fact that my parents and brothers were hardly ever around, leaving me lonely, I just wanted to know what was going on in our home. And house staff are always the best gossip. But why did a maid think she could complain about how I was eating when the only reason she was employed was so she could clean up after me? I laughed again. Perhaps she made a mistake. Are you deaf or something? Oh no, wait. Ah, yes. You're completely out of your mind. You've gone
I was a little
completely
nervous
mad.
about
I
dropping
just
into
told
an
you that you
unknown
leave your
area,
breadcrumbs on the
but
table on the
luckily,
floor
this
while
biome
you
seems
ate,
to have an
and
abundance
instead
of
of clearing
minerals
them
I
up
can use for
immediately,
tools and
you just
upgrades.
laughed and
I
continued
didn't want
eating?
another
What
situation
the
like
heck was
Cassandra's
going
fire.
on?
When
I didn't want
Xenomorphs
to be
dropped me off, there
rude.
were barely
I didn't
any
want to use my
resources.
privilege or
I
do
survived
anything
off
out
the
of the
land for
ordinary,
3 months
so
with
I
just a
ignored
knife,
her
my
rude
lucky
comments and
PDA,
continued
and some
eating the
rope.
piece of bread that I picked.
I am still
You're
kind of
just
proud of
gonna
that, though.
ignore me? Wait a minute. Why was
Adding
no one
additional
stopping her?
blueprints to your
Was
data
this
bank.
the same way they treated my brothers?
The standard
Anna,
oxygen
you're
tank
being
can be
really rude
upgraded
at
for
the
deluxe
moment,
and
and as
VIP
much as I
breathing.
tried not to react to this insulting behavior, I'm getting really angry and starting to lose my patience. Before I could complete my sentence, Anna had already
Jeez.
forced me
How many
to
flares did I
I
make?
never felt in the orphanage once again. Anna slapped me. The maid really slapped me. I looked at her with wide eyes and an open mouth as she smiled victoriously. Next time, listen. No one even tried to stop her. A silence suddenly filled the room and everyone started shuddering. I looked up and tried to speak, but
What absolute rubbish. Who do you think you are, maid? And you all? You all stood here while Janet was insulted. Stop everything you're doing now and leave. Every single one of you is fired. And Anna,
my dad called out as she started leaving the kitchen in tears.
this is the last decent job you'll ever have. I'll make sure of it.
I turned to thank my dad, but he was gone, just like that. After the incident, the mansion staff began avoiding me. I tried to talk to them, but everyone shuffled past me so quickly that I started suspecting that they'd all been gifted superpowers. Finally, one day I cornered Sam, a gateman's son, in the hallway. Why are you guys so scared of me?
I should be asking why you're so freaking scared. Kitchen store for you.
He paused.
Please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound that way. Please forgive me. Don't get me fired, please.
Why would I want to get you fired?
Warning.
I
30
asked.
seconds of oxygen
Thank
remaining.
you. Thank you so much.
He kept thanking me as he ran away and avoided me even more after that meeting. Why did the mansion staff feel like I was nothing and no one, though? Is that why they accepted me willingly when I tried to make them my friends? How come no one knew that I was the last child in the Blessing family? Something was really strange in my household, and I was going to find out what it was. I tried to ask questions in school, but people avoided me like I had the plague. My brothers behaved like they didn't know me, and they were readily accepted by everyone else in the school. So, why was it different for me? I understood that the university was occupied by mostly men, but even the few girls in the school didn't want to associate themselves with me. I guess it was because they knew that I wasn't a billionaire like them, but it hurts. It hurt badly. How was I going to know what was going on in my family if everyone refused to speak to me? It wasn't over for me, though. I had one last recourse. The deep, dark web. Everything could be found online if you only searched hard enough, and I was determined to search as hard as I possibly could. During my search, I noticed that I had to pay for
30
some
seconds
apps
of
to give me
oxygen
access to more
remaining.
features. I didn't hesitate in using the little savings I had to pay for those features. I never really had a lot of money, and I was used to it by now. My parents didn't have a lot of money. They were just staff in the mansion. According to them, they were lucky to get the position of master and mistress that they applied for. So they manned every other staff in the mansion, and that was why they could fire anyone. Because after the owners of the house, they were the next in power. The owners had also dropped specific instructions that the master's children should be treated like their own. We were technically the owners of the building, but nobody treated me like that. My brothers were the only ones who got the glory. But everything had stopped making sense at this point. And you know what made the least sense? The tiny, dirty room I was given in the basement. Even the maids got better rooms. No wonder they felt like they could talk to me in any way. After 1 week of searching, I found
Warning.
blog posts
30
and
seconds
videos
of
that had been
oxygen
hidden from the
remaining.
world. My discovery was worse than anything I could have imagined. Now, every single thing made sense. Why I was adopted and abandoned in the village. Why my so-called parents only ever gave me enough not to die. Why my parents only came around once a year when it was time to take family portraits. Why my brothers acted like I didn't exist and didn't consider me a sister. Why I was given a terrible room in the basement, not even fit for a maid. Why the mansion staff didn't regard me, and why everyone in school thought I was a lowlife and didn't want to be associated with me. I wasn't wanted. I'd never been wanted. But one thing didn't quite make sense. Why not leave
New
me to
blueprint
attend university in
synthesized.
the village? If I'd been left there like I'd been for the past 13 years, I'd have never discovered the truth. Why take such a big risk? I had to find out. My father invited me to a big event. Apparently, their boss's friend was around and wanted to see the whole family. He told me that if I made a good impression, that he might get a better job and make everyone's lives better. He kept everyone at arm's length, and I tried to have a conversation with my brothers, but they ignored me as usual and just stood beside me. I didn't bother with my mom because she looked scared out of her mind like she always looked. Since I was so close to my dad, I put a truth serum that I'd gotten online into his drink. He had to tell me the truth that night. When he finally lost his guard, he confessed to everything while I secretly recorded his confession. He didn't believe that women served any other purpose apart from procreation, so he didn't give them jobs or chances. He also didn't associate with them
Warning.
because he
30
felt they were
seconds of
below
oxygen
him. My
remaining.
mom's purpose was simply to give him 4 sons. And once she did that successfully, her new purpose was to smile and look perfect in pictures, and she played that role perfectly. The only reason he adopted me was for business. A competitor who used to be his best friend and who knew all his secrets wanted to bring him down, so he made a press releases and shared them to different media outlets telling the whole world what the greatest businessman thought about women. He wanted his business to end because a lot of my father's investors were equally women. My dad did a lot of things to save his company, but the best thing he did that saved his image was adopting a poor 5-year-old orphaned child and raising the child properly. He laughed and said,
Actually, I didn't give a hoot about you. I just wanted you to think I did, and that's why I fed you all those lies. You thought you were being given the best, right? Women don't deserve anything good. I definitely didn't give you anything.
I knew all of this already, thanks to that article, but hearing it from my own dad's mouth, a man who
I'm gonna have to sea glide.
for over a decade, really shattered my heart. Why did you bring me to the city, though? I would have never found out anything if you just left me in the village, you know? He smiled.
Another competitor was trying to give my school a bad name since I hardly ever admitted females. They wondered why my own daughter wasn't going to attend my own school.
Your own school? The university is yours? How didn't I see this online?
Yep, it is. And so many other structures, too. To quell the rumors, guess what I did?
You got me to come to the school.
Exactly.
Dad,
Huh?
did you ever love or care for me just a little bit?
No, you were solely for business.
My dad didn't remember that he'd made such a terrible confession when morning came, so I had enough time to think strategically concerning the next steps that I was going to take. I continued schooling in my dad's school, and I did my best to get the best grades in the school, but none of my course mates cared since they knew that I wasn't as rich as they were. They were wrong. When I shared the recording with my father, he was flabbergasted, and I was extremely excited. I insisted that he send me a monthly stipend that ran into billions, despite the fact that he kept insisting that doing that monthly for over a year would make him bankrupt. Distraught and confused, he sent kidnappers my way, but the leader turned out to be a guy I used to help when I was in the village. We hugged and caught up, and once we were done with that, we proceeded to have a civil discussion with my father concerning
Warning.
his behavior.
30
He
seconds of
didn't try
oxygen
anything
remaining.
again after that. I saved every penny and invested it while working to earn the money I spent and living in my own house. Luck shone my way, and my investments turned into gold, doubling and tripling in interest by 200% and upwards. I saved the company by buying it for pennies before it could turn to ruin, and then I fired my family from the company and separated myself from them legally. I changed everything about the company and started a new age. Why live with evil geniuses if you can't learn to be an evil genius yourself?
I don't hate my family. No, not one bit. As a matter of fact, I love and appreciate them because they made me what I am today. An
Warning.
evil
30
genius.
seconds of oxygen remaining.
And where exactly do you think you're going? Looking and smelling like that?
God, Mom, not again. I'm just heading to school. Why
Warning.
don't you just
Past
let me
100
see?
meters.
Not like that, you're
Oxygen
not.
efficiency
Now go back to your
decreased.
room, take a shower, and wash your hair. You smell like a homeless person. I don't mind.
Warning.
Shrug.
30
Why does
seconds
it
of
bother you so
oxygen
much?
remaining.
It's not your body. Move. Not the shower again. God, I really hate showering. To be honest, I hate a lot of things. I hate cleaning myself or my room up, dressing up for any occasion, leaving my room, going to school, learning, and every other thing that exists.
Warning.
They just
30
don't make
seconds
sense.
of oxygen remaining.
Unfortunately, being a high school student and teenager, living under my parents' roof, I had no other choice than to do most of the
Warning.
above.
30
But I
seconds
hated
of
them
oxygen
so
remaining.
much.
Oh, Fiona, aren't you done yet? I'm sure you wouldn't want to arrive at your school late, would you?
My mom said in a melodious voice from the bathroom door. Mom, if you had simply let me go when I came out previously, I'd be in school already. Please, can you leave? I need some privacy. My mom quickly excused me. I'm sure you must be thinking that this isn't a great way to live my life. Well, no kidding. It definitely wasn't. Watch this video till the end to find out how this dirty behavior almost ruined my life forever. Yeah, and, click the like and subscribe button so we can continue with the story. Done? Great. Thanks.
Don't you just love how fresh you smell now?
My mom said as she walked me to class. I was late, so the halls were empty. Thank God. Mom, first of all, no. I don't love how fresh I smell. It's so rosy that I feel like throwing up. Secondly, please, can you stop here already? I told you that you definitely didn't need to drive me to school or walk me into the building. Yet, here you are, walking me to my class door.
So sorry,
I
baby.
think I found Delta Station Dock.
I just really enjoyed walking and talking with you. I'll go now. Bye.
She ran off once again. Yeah, right. Walking and talking with me? More like walking and arguing with me. Or walking with me and shouting my head off. Bye, Mom.
All
I said
terror,
behind her
beacon
as her
signature
figure slowly
detected.
disappeared.
Knew it.
Identifier.
Mom
Yes.
needed to accept it once and for all. There was absolutely
Delta
no way
Station.
I was going to become
This
a
is the
girly
place
girl
Lil
who
mentioned in
cared
her
about
message.
looks, smells, and all that. No way. I opened the door and went straight to my seat. No one noticed me, not even the teacher. I was fine with that. People hardly noticed me anyway, and if my teacher had noticed me and just how late I was, she would have punished me somehow. Besides, the few people who had ever spoken or been nice to me either simply wanted something and changed once they got it, or just wanted to bully me. Being noticed in my experience
I would admit.
had never been and would probably never be a good thing. I was a happy loner. School finished and I went back home to rest, repeating this boring cycle day after day until one unfortunate day, during lunch break, when I was silently and carefully walking to a table where I could sit alone and enjoy my lunch in silence, when someone suddenly bumped into me with brute force. It was the most popular girl in our school, Bridget. As a result of the heavy bump, my food and drinks emptied themselves on Bridget's body, and she looked like she was about to explode.
And what the heck are you staring at? You flipping fool?
Me? Oh, I'm just amazed at how red...
I'm
the
sure
is.
I'm gonna get jump scared here, so backwards, close my eyes, close my eyes.
Everyone laughed.
Oh.
Bridget quickly turned around to find who was laughing, but she couldn't catch anyone.
I thought I was gonna get jump scared there.
Immediately, she turned. No one wanted her trouble.
You fool! Look what you did to me! Aren't you going to apologize?
Apologize? Are you kidding? I was carefully walking to my table when you bumped into me, wasting my lunch in the process, and you're asking for an apology? Are you out of
Am
your
I going in
What's wrong
something?
with you exactly? When you're walking and talking with your minions, don't you think you should watch where you're going so you don't bump into unsuspecting humans? If anyone should apologize, it's you. Uh-huh. What are you waiting for? The lunchroom went quiet. That way. Honestly, now that I think about it, I don't know.
I know I'm gonna get jump
I
scared
really went
now.
overboard, and I shouldn't have. The right thing
Oh.
would have been to simply render an apology and help her get cleaned up even if it wasn't my fault. Just to avoid future problems, but I guess something in me knew that I was already in deep trouble with Bridget after that encounter. And
I don't know how to get up
even
to
licking
that.
her feet wouldn't have helped. Angrily, Bridget grabbed a handful of some kind of paste that someone sitting on a chair close by was eating and threw it at me, but I thankfully dodged it just in time. It flew over my head and landed on Bridget's brother, Bright's head.
Oh, Bright, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
But he wasn't listening. He forced
But,
me to complete her
how do you
sentence.
get up there?
A bed had landed on her face. Her minions responded by stoning Bright and his friends with food. A random person in the crowd screamed, "Food wars!" And the hall went crazy. Everyone started fighting with food to the sheer horror of the kitchen staff. I tried to quietly slip out of the hall unnoticed,
Nice.
but before I could disappear, a dirty hand stretched out from the dirty fighting crowd and grabbed me. It was Bridget. I tried to force my hand out of her grip and looked up too late. Her hand was coming at me with force, and I suddenly heard a heavy thud on my cheek, releasing hot tears from my eyes as it left my face.
Don't think this is close to over. This is just the beginning of your punishment.
I ran out of the hall crying. I came back to school the next day and heard that Bridget had been suspended for 2 weeks. Apparently, our shy and quiet math teacher witnessed everything that unfolded from the corner of the hall. He saw Bridget bump into me and demand an apology. He also saw her start a food fight and give me a terrible slap. He didn't do anything to intervene, but simply went straight to the principal. The principal even called me to his office later that day and
Darn it.
apologized on Bridget's behalf. As happily as I was that justice had actually prevailed for once in our lives, I couldn't help but feel terrible. There was a pit in my stomach because I knew that Bridget was definitely at home right now, plotting the ultimate revenge. I was done for. Everything happened just as I had expected it to. Bridget came back to school and I automatically became a target for her and her friends. I was already a sad and unhappy loner who hated everything and everyone, but Bridget's prank...
I don't even know how to get back up there. I've done it so many
I
times.
didn't know how to break the news to my mom. Bridget made everyone believe that I had some kind of disease that caused sores all over my skin, which was why I hardly bathed or washed my hair and always wore long sleeves. As a result of this, people did everything they could to avoid me, while some idiots even went as far as pouring soapy water on me and asking me if it hurt.
How badly does the water hurt you? It must be stinging right now, right? Well, I hope it burns.
My mom noticed that I was withdrawing myself from the world even more, and although she tried to talk to me about it, I didn't know how to explain anything to her. I just sat by the corner, remained quiet, and cried. This annoyed my mom, and she stormed the principal's office the
Mineral
next
rich
day,
crevices
telling
detected
him that her
below.
daughter was a
Geothermal
victim of
activity
bullying, and the
detected.
principal was
Caution
doing nothing
advised.
about it. Surprisingly, from the place I hid, I heard the principal attack my that I had always been a depressed loner, and my problem was definitely not from school. In other words, he was calling my mother a bad mother. She left the school fuming, bumping into Bright on the way, who was also eavesdropping on the conversation, but not doing a very good job of hiding. To my surprise, after overhearing the conversation between my mom and the principal and seeing just how bad I was having it, Bright, Bridget's twin brother of all people, started being really nice to me. I honestly wasn't used to such kindness, so I quickly fell in love with him. Besides, he was also really stunning and handsome. He was practicing basketball.
I'm going to get jump scared. I'm
admiring
surprised
his
I didn't.
skills and muscles when a girl I'd never seen before approached me.
Food for the eyes, am I right?
She laughed. Who are you?
I'm nobody, but I know what it feels like to have a crush and keep quiet about it. It kills you slowly from the inside. I think you should tell him how you feel quickly, before it's too late. Besides, everyone has seen how nice Bright has been to you lately. It's obvious he has a crush on you.
Really?
Obviously.
This discussion gave me the boost of confidence that I needed, and I walked straight to Bright once he was done with his practice.
Hey, pretty. Want me to walk you home?
Bright, there's something I want to tell you.
What's that? Go ahead.
He laughed.
You're making me nervous.
I like you.
What?
He laughed.
Fiona, you don't really think we can date, do you? Look at me, and I mean, look at you. How do you think that can work? I was just being nice because I felt bad about what my sister was doing to you. But you're obviously taking it the wrong way. Don't talk to me ever again.
Bright quickly walked off and left me standing all
Oh
alone.
my god.
I cried throughout the night, but what awaited me in school the next day was even worse. Videos of me telling Bright how I felt and being rejected were all over the school. I ran back home crying and finally got the courage to tell my mom everything that had been happening. She was sad, but after a few minutes of brooding, she told me that what I needed was a makeover. What? Mom, you just look for every opportunity to dress me up. This is a serious problem, not a makeover problem.
Honey, I know what I'm doing. Just trust me this once, okay?
Fine.
I don't know. I don't even know how you got up that. I've done this so many times before, but I haven't played this in so long.
Lots of black and dark colors, but I still looked amazing. I stepped into school the next day, and no one believed it was me. Most people thought I was a new girl. My hair was curly and longer, black with hints of light brown. My clothes were new and cleaner, and my boots just made me feel like I could tell anyone to do anything, and they'd happily do it. I was right. I decided to listen to my mom from then on. I showered and washed my hair regularly, dressed great, made sure I always had jewelry and perfume on, took care of my skin, my room, and my environment, and to my surprise, I actually stopped hating life as much as I previously did. I became popular in school because people wanted to talk or hang out with me in any way possible, and some students even started copying my dressing. It was the new fashion, apparently. Bridget and her minions became very nice to me, and even asked me to become one of them, but I politely declined her so-called kind offer.
I think it's this way.
He apologized and talked to me, asking if we could be friends at least, but I rejected him, making sure someone was there to record it, so we could share it across social media. Despite the embarrassment I gave Bright, he didn't give up. He kept chasing me like his life depended on it, and it kind of freaked me out because I still liked him. I was just too hurt, embarrassed, and proud to admit it.
No,
When my mom noticed that Bright was trying
I've been there.
after seeing him in our compound so many times, she reminded me that he did his best to make me feel good when his sister was tormenting me for no exact reason, apart from the fact that he wanted me to feel better, so he deserved a second chance at least. I reluctantly agreed with her. I told him that I would go on a date with him on one condition.
I'll do anything to prove to you that I'm not a jerk.
Good. Because we're going to prank your twin sister and her friends, and you're going to be the one responsible for everything.
I think that's fair. I'll do it. Yeet.
I think it's actually this way.
Coming for it.
I haven't been this.
After playing just a few pranks
Flushed
on Bridget
out.
and her friends, with them being clueless concerning who was messing with them,
I might get jump scared when I.
company much
Yeah.
more than hurting Bridget and her friends, and we shared our first kiss. I really turned a new leaf, and my life turned around for good. Whenever I felt sad, anxious, or depressed, and tried going back to my old ways, my mom and my boyfriend Bryce were always there to encourage me. They did this until I was a totally new person with automatic habits, and I loved them for it. With Bryce's encouragement and motivation, I joined the school swimming team and started excelling in competitions.
Welcome back, folks. Look at what you could be dealing with tonight.
If anybody's watching, can you please tell me how to get here? I'm really stuck. Like, this will start with me just trying to get a stuff for battery. Maybe I should start Delta Station Dock, the beacon. This is all for you.
What on earth are you wearing? You can't go to school looking like that. Take it off immediately.
Mom screeched. The horrified look on her face would make you think she caught me trying to sneak out in a skimpy outfit. Truth was, I was wearing a beautiful dress and had my hair tied in a ponytail.
And since when is your hair that long? And you dyed it?
I'd worn a beanie all summer. Mom had no idea how long my hair had grown. I didn't dye it, Mom. I just let it grow back to its natural color. I want to look different this time.
You look horrible. I can't believe you do this to us.
To them, I was confused. I tried to stand my ground, but she dragged me to the bathroom and cut my hair, then dyed it black. I hate you and I hate school, I screamed at the top of my lungs.
That's enough, Erin. Now get rid of that dress and wear your normal clothes. Hurry or you'll be late on your first day at your new school.
Mom answered me sternly. Normal? They're all boys' clothes. I don't want to wear boys' clothes anymore, I said cheerfully. Ever since I was a little girl, my parents dressed me as a boy. I didn't realize that they were boy clothes until elementary school when everyone started to mock me. I often came home crying, but my parents never bought me girl clothes like I begged them to. A few weeks ago, when Mom told me that we'd be moving to a different town, I was so happy. Kids at my old school were so mean, and I always dreaded going to school. I was now a senior, and I thought I'd finally get to pick my own clothes. My aunt had paid me to babysit my cousin all summer, and when we moved, I used the money to buy new outfits.
I'm not gonna ask you again, Erin. Go to your room and change.
Hi guys, my name is not Erin, and I'm not a boy, even though my parents always make me dress like one. Want to know why? Watch till the end. I tearfully took off my dress and started to wear the clothes Mom had laid on my bed. She grabbed the dress from my hands and tore it into pieces. At school, I received so many stares. My hair was unevenly cut due to Mom's outburst that morning. While some students whispered behind my back, others laughed openly, pointing at me. I didn't blame them. I was an easy target.
As long as you live under our roof, you'll wear the outfits we buy you. Is that clear?
Dad said at dinner later that evening. Why were my parents so obsessed with me dressing and looking like a boy? I was so miserable. Please don't get me wrong. You can wear any clothes you want to, as long as you are comfortable in them. But no one should force you to wear something you don't want to, like my parents were doing.
Erin, hey, I got tickets for us to go watch the football this weekend.
I hated football. Dad always made me watch it, saying that it was a way for us to bond. I can't go this weekend. The annual talent show at school is in a few weeks, and I'm participating.
That's great, Erin. What will you be
Wear it at the talent show. I had an eye for fashion, and at school, art and design was my favorite class. I can't tell you yet, Dad. It's a surprise. The next day, I went to the mall and bought a sewing kit and other tools I'd need to make the dress. I picked a few outfits from my closet and cut them into pieces. By the time I was done, I had enough material to make my new dress. The talent show was being held at the school auditorium. The dress had come out great, and when I tried it on, I was so proud of myself. I looked fantastic in it. My turn to do my presentation came, and I was so nervous. What if people laughed at me like they always did? How would my parents react? They were both sitting in the audience eagerly waiting to see what my presentation was. When I walked to the stage, everyone gasped in utter surprise. After announcing the dress as my original design, I proudly walked around swaying my ponytail side to side, flaunting my gorgeous dress. I could tell the judges were impressed, but the moment was short-lived. My mom stormed the stage and grabbed me by my ponytail and literally dragged me away. Everyone stared in shock, wondering what was happening. "Let go of me, you're hurting me!" I protested as she continued to drag me through the parking lot to her car.
Ma'am, you need to release her now.
Miss Vera, my art and design teacher, came running out of the auditorium, followed by a few other students. Soon, a crowd formed around us.
She went against our wishes by wearing this ugly dress. Your daughter is very talented. The dress is beautiful, and it looks great on her.
I was so embarrassed by Mom's behavior. "You're ruining my life. I don't want to look like a boy anymore," I screamed at Mom.
That's enough, Erin. Get in the car. We're leaving.
"My name is not Erin, and I'm not going anywhere with you."
Do you need our help?
"Yes, my parents are crazy. They forced me to dress like a boy and cut my hair short. I hate them." Mom and Dad looked hurt by my words, but I didn't care anymore. They both got in the car and asked me to do the same, but I said no, so they drove off and left me behind. Miss Vera volunteered to drive me home, but I didn't want to go. I begged her to take me to her house as I decided what to do about my parents. When Mom called me and I told her where I was, she was outraged and threatened to report Miss Vera for abducting me.
Yes, finally.
Stop right there, Altera.
Tell me
You're
about the
out of
dress you
bounds.
wore at the talent
I'm not with Altera.
Beautiful and uniquely designed.
And your position is doubly precarious.
She listened.
How's that string for
If you're telling the truth, you're out of your mind. If you're lying, there'll be hell to pay.
Wait! Who are you?
Stay off
You know,
my land.
I also design clothes and sell them. I have a website and everything.
After dinner, we opened Miss Vera's website.
The woman in the exosuit has been traced as far as mitochondrial will allow.
I don't understand. If you can do all this,
It would
why are you
appear I am
teaching?
far
Miss
less
Vera
alone on this
smiled at my
planet than I had
question.
I
anticipated.
love teaching. I don't do it for money.
signal location uploaded to PDA.
I actually have a few people working for me. She told me that she owned a small design company located in a warehouse within our town.
How do you feel about spending time there after school? You'll
Jukebox.
learn even more, and while at it, we can figure out how to deal with the situation with your parents.
I immediately said yes, and a few days later, she introduced me to her team. After school, I'd go straight to the warehouse where Miss Vera let me use their scrap materials to practice. I even came up with designs that she liked. Weeks passed, and I never heard from my parents. It was like they forgot I existed. I missed
New
them, but
blueprints
there was no way I
synthesized.
was going back there. I loved living with Miss Vera. She was kind and very supportive of my interests in designing. One evening, she was going through my sketchbook and came across a particular design she really liked.
Erin, I think you should make this dress. I'm sure my online customers will buy it.
Wow, are you sure?
Yes, I am. I'll have my team help you, okay? We can start tomorrow.
I couldn't believe it. I woke up very early the next day and headed straight to the warehouse. It was a Saturday, so I didn't have any classes. The dress took a few days to finish. Miss Vera's team was really helpful, and they told me how beautiful my design was. When it was ready, Miss Vera uploaded it to her website. The next day, I woke up and went online to check if my dress had received any orders, but to my surprise, the dress was no longer on the site. Miss Vera must have taken it down. I guess my dress wasn't so great after all.
Erin, you need to see this.
Miss Vera called from her office. What is it? I responded, walking in. I still hadn't asked her why she removed the dress from the website. She was sitting behind her desk with her laptop open in front of her.
I got an email last night. You won't believe who it's from.
She turned the laptop towards me, and my jaw dropped. It says that Patricia Anderson is interested
Sam
in
really
one
got
of your
under management
designs.
skin.
Patricia Anderson, the
I know
movie
she had
star?
it in her.
Wow, congratulations.
Erin, please sit down. After I read the email, I called her assistant. Anderson has an upcoming movie premiere, and she wants to wear one of our designs to the event. Guess which dress she wants? Yours.
No way.
She requested that we remove the dress from our site because she wants no one else to buy it. Erin, she's coming to meet you.
My heart almost exploded with joy. Patricia Anderson was one of the most celebrated actresses, and I could grown up admiring her and her taste in fashion. Miss Vera and I met up with Patricia that week. When she asked to see the dress, I was very nervous. Movie stars are known to be very demanding and high maintenance. I expected her to take one look at the dress and throw it in the trash. She didn't though. She admired it for a while, then told her assistant to write down the changes she wanted to be made on the dress. The movie premiere was happening in a month's time, so Miss Vera and I immediately started working on Anderson's order. A few days before the movie premiere, her assistant met us and took us to the movie star's house. The fitting went well,
Just
and
was
she
doing
was very
something.
happy about the results, much to our relief. When she wrote me a check, I took it with trembling hands. But this is so much money for just one dress, I told Miss Vera once we left. I was astonished at the number of zeros on the check. I offered to give some of the money to Miss Vera, but she turned it down.
You earned it, dear. I was only helping you because of what your parents did. Please, keep the money.
Wow, she was such a kind woman. During the event, Patricia mentioned me as her designer. She also mentioned Miss Vera's website as where she first saw the dress. As you'd expect, the site blew up with orders, and we became two of the most sought-after designers in the city. Months later, I still hadn't made contact with my parents. Graduation came and went, and I was now fully working at Miss Vera's company. I was making a huge amount of money from my original designs. I should have been happy, but I wasn't. Despite our differences, I missed my parents.
Erin, you have visitors.
Miss Vera shouted from the kitchen. I still lived with her, but I planned to move out soon. I ran downstairs and immediately froze when I saw my parents standing in Miss Vera's kitchen. Mom? Dad? What are you doing here?
Oh, Erin, we're so sorry for everything.
Sorry? You made my life miserable. Please leave.
I know you're angry, but please, hear what they have to say before they go.
What can they possibly say to excuse how badly they treated me?
We had another child before you.
Dad interrupted me. What?
His name was Aaron, and he died before he was just a few years old. We were devastated and never moved on from the loss. We wanted to replace our lost son. And when you were born, we were disappointed that you were not a boy. So we decided to turn you into our desired son.
Mom was crying hysterically now.
We're sorry, Aaron. We were wrong to force you to dress like a boy
That
and
sounds
try
like
to
a
suppress your
distress call.
passion. We should have
Transmission
accepted
of
and loved
unknown
you as you
origin.
are.
That
Source
was
of
incredibly
transmission depth
heartbreaking to hear from my
calculated at
parents. They
approximately
asked me to go
200
back home,
meters.
but it was too late. My career was just kicking off, and I wanted to pursue it on my own. I also plan on going to design
Warning,
school. I
passing
hugged both of
100
them and
meters.
told them I forgave
Oxygen
them.
efficiency
Then said
decreased.
goodbye.
Hey, Harry, looking good
Oxygen.
today, buddy. What am I even saying? You look good every single day, you lucky handsome dude. Someone said to me as I walked past him. I turned around and flashed him a smile,
Oxygen.
along with a thumbs up sign. I really appreciated compliments. I continued to walk until I got to the hot dog stand. I was hungry and wanted to grab a hot dog. A few meters away from me and sitting with her friends was Amy. Amy was one of the most beautiful girls I'd ever seen. If not the most.
No! Oh, come on.
Eyes and lovely brown hair that grew all the way to her waist. I tried to get her attention by waving at her, but she couldn't see me, or she was simply ignoring me. Just then, her friend Amanda got up to receive a call.
I didn't
She
want
distracted
to.
herself from the group until the call was finished, and just as she was about to go back, I walked up to her to have a little chat. Hey Amanda, what's up? I greeted.
Hey there, Harry. How are you doing?
She replied, I'm alright. I'd like to talk to you for a few seconds, if you don't mind.
I'm all ears.
Well, I began.
I lost like all of my resources.
I was wondering if you had any tips on how I could go about it, so I could get her attention and get her.
Chat, look how much, look at all of the resources I just lost.
But Amy has a weird fascination with guys who have extra white teeth. You know, the kind that looks like you've never had a box of chocolates or sweets in your life.
Really? I asked, bewildered.
Well, yeah. Perhaps if you could whiten...
Yeah. Yeah, I have. 5 right now. Titanium.
She might give you a chance. You never know.
Thank you. I walked off pondering. My teeth were by no means ugly or bad, but if whitening them was what would get Amy to notice me, then they'd be whitened. A few days later, I was at the dentist's office. The dentist explained that teeth whitening was not a complex procedure. He did it regularly, and my teeth were going to be as bright as possible in the next few months. Months? I needed sparkling teeth now. This was absolutely not what I wanted to hear. I wanted a quick fix, so I got really impatient. What if she was attracted to another guy before I finished all my sessions with the dentist? I told the doctor to give me some time to think about it and left his office. I walked for a few minutes before noticing a nomad who opened up a new stand by the side of the road. In front of it were many items displayed for sale, including containers and jars of creams and liquids. Unable to quench my curiosity, I walked up to her to take a closer look at her items. It just so happened that my eyes caught a particular colorful container. I picked it up to read the label, and on it was written, Magic Teeth Cream. I asked her about it, and she informed me that it was a very special cream that supposedly had the ability to whiten anyone's teeth to the absolute maximum. She continued that the effect of the cream was almost instantaneous. Wow, what a coincidence. This was exactly what I wanted, so I bought it and hurried back home. I never knew that this was going to be the start of all my problems. Like and subscribe if you're enjoying the story.
30 seconds of oxygen remaining.
To me as I hurried away, but I didn't bother listening. As soon as I got home, I walked up to the bathroom sink, bared my teeth, applied some of the cream on my toothbrush, and then I brushed my teeth with it. In a mere matter of seconds, I stared in astonishment as my teeth immediately turned a blinding white. I was so happy with this effect that I used a little bit more. The next time I saw Amy, I made sure I got her attention and engaged her in conversation. I also made sure to smile as often as possible so she'd notice my new beautiful teeth.
Wow, Harry, you've got really nice teeth.
Amy said to me while flashing her equally white teeth. Why, thank you.
How come I've never noticed it before? Did you have any work done on your teeth?
She asked. Nope, this was all natural. Maybe you never noticed it because you never gave me a chance to talk to you. She smiled and replied,
Well, now you have your chance.
We talked a little more before I decided to take her out for dinner. We agreed on a time and place. After our first date, we began to see each other more. She started having feelings for me. Noticed noticed a few strands of my hair on my pillow. I wasn't too worried, because I thought it was normal. Besides, I had a full head of glorious hair, and it wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. This continued for a few more days before I started to get worried. I also noticed that something extremely wrong was going on with my face. I couldn't quite place my finger on what exactly was wrong with it, but it seemed like I was becoming uglier and uglier as the days went by. This was a very serious cause for concern. I hurried off to look for the strange woman. Thankfully, she was in the same spot as she'd been when she sold me the cream a while ago. "What did you sell to me?" I demanded as soon as I was in front of her.
Young man, I sold you a magic tooth whitening cream. Didn't you read the label?
The strange woman replied. "Then why am I losing my hair and suddenly becoming uglier?"
How many times have you smiled?
She replied to my question with a question. What kind of question is that? I smile all the time. I don't sit down and take note of every single time I smile, I replied, stomping my foot on the ground. I was getting visibly angry, but in spite of this, the old woman remained incredibly calm.
When you brought this, I was telling you about the side effects, but you completely disregarded me and ran off immediately.
She shook her head.
It seemed like you were not interested in knowing about them.
What side effects? I asked, my heart beating rapidly. The strange woman then told me about the supposed origin of the cream. Apparently, the magic cream was made by an ancient witch who lived a long time ago. The witch also made different kinds of creams in order to teach humans a lesson about being too vain, and in particular about their looks. She said that the witch made this particular cream for those who cared too much about their teeth, and anyone who used it would have the whitest teeth known to man. But it would come at a price, which was that the person would grow uglier each time he or she smiled. I was stunned at this revelation, and quickly begged her for a cure. But she said that there was no known cure.
Warning,
Amy
30
was
seconds of
horrified when I
oxygen
revealed all
remaining.
this to her. She'd also noticed that something was wrong with my face, so I had to tell her the truth. She ended the relationship between us immediately. According to her, it was of no use being with someone with the whitest teeth if he had the ugliest face. After being told of the absence of a cure to my magic disease,
Oxygen.
I resorted to not smiling in order to reduce the effects of the cream, no matter how minimal. I also emptied the contents of its container into the toilet and flushed it. All this combined made me a shell of my former self. I had suddenly turned from a handsome, lively, bubbly, and likable person into an ugly, gloomy, and moody outcast who no one wanted to associate with. I was very lonely. Despite what the old woman said, I was determined to not give up and keep searching for a cure. I stumbled upon a website for magical and mystical things, and it was there I discovered that there was a cure. According to the website, the cure was to find someone who really loved you and accepted you as you were, ugliness and all. This didn't extend to family members. Through all of this, a shy girl, Laura, had been watching me from afar. And one day she came up to me.
Hi, Harry.
She said, "What do you want?" I replied dismissively.
I just want to talk to you.
Nobody ever wants to talk to me. Have you come to make fun of me? I asked.
No, I would never do that. I just wanted to let you know that I really liked you. Maybe even loved you. I've loved you for a while now, and I was scared to let my feelings be known to you.
You still love me like this? I said, gesturing to my ugly face.
Of course, I love who you are as a person, not what you look like.
Her words touched me, and we soon became friends. And after that, we started a relationship. It was a beautiful relationship, and I was happy to find someone who truly loved me. I was expecting to be cured, but after a few weeks of seeing no changes in my face, I began to worry. It seemed like my face had become worse. I was growing uglier and uglier at an accelerated rate, which freaked me out. And this time, it didn't matter if I smiled or not. Dejected, I broke up with Laura. I thought she was lying to me and didn't really love me. Why did I not revert back to my former handsome self if she truly loved me? She was surely playing games with me or something. Laura, it's over between us, I said to her on that fateful day.
Why? What happened? What did I do?
Laura asked, flabbergasted. She felt that everything was going well in the relationship and was surprised at my sudden change of heart. I was supposed to get better with you, not worse. They said if I found someone who loved and accepted me the way I was, then everything would go back to normal. Leave my house. Laura laughed, weeping. And that was the end of our relationship. I continued to wallow in self-pity until I decided that it was not how I wanted to live my life. I resolved to accept myself the way I was, since there was nothing I could do about it, and stop worrying about my looks unnecessarily.
I began to enjoy my life and live my life to the fullest, doing things I enjoyed. Before long, I was comfortable with myself. And one day, while out on a walk, I ran into someone who complimented me. She said I looked great that day. It had been a long time since anyone had said something like that to me, so I was surprised.
Adding
I didn't
emergency
understand the
shelter
compliment until I
blueprints
got
to your
home and
database.
saw my old face in the mirror. I was cured. I was back to normal. It was then that it occurred to me
With the
that what the website meant
Builder
was to
tool,
love yourself
you can
for the way
construct
you
sea
were,
bases
and
from raw
accept your imperfections because they are part of what made you human.
materials.
I was happy that I
Advising
had learned
against
that, and I decided to never forget that important
exploring
lesson.
a
On a
frozen
random
water
day, I was on the
continent
street
without a
when I
base.
spotted someone.
No
It
bed,
looked like the strange woman who had sold me the cream.
no
I
storage,
wasn't sure
no
until I got
place to
close.
put a
It
fabricator
turned out that
module.
it was her. She
No
recognized
fun.
me
The Sea
immediately
Glide
and smiled
is a
as
personal
soon as she saw me.
transportation device
I relayed
used
my
for
experience
high-speed
and my
free
lesson
diving
to her, and she
in days of
revealed to
building
me
light
that
and
she was
map.
the ancient witch that created the creams a long time ago. She said that she had gone through a lot of places over the years trying to teach people an important lesson. And she said that she was happy that I had finally learned my lesson. I was surprised, but before I could say anything else, she vanished into thin air with all her products. I looked around, but no one seemed to notice what had just happened. Everyone who saw me going forward was amazed. Amy even tried to get back with me, as I was now handsome again. Plus, I kept my snow white teeth. I rejected her instantly and went back to Laura, who thankfully took me back.
Guys, I think I'm gonna end the stream there.
When I was at my ugliest.
I tried to hold on
Peace
to
out.